Before I start, just I want to introduce yourself and just talk about like your job and about you.
Sure. All right. So my name's Dr. Natalie Dyer. My PhD is in neuroscience, but I'm also a Reiki practitioner, master teacher. And somewhere along the way, I think it was, the beginning of doing my PhD research that I discovered Reiki. And I was coming at that time from more of even though I was a spiritual person, I was coming from like a materialist approach to research. It was a lot of neuropharmacology and, changing the chemistry in the brain and seeing how rats, in this case, respond in anxious behaviors. So I did my PhD in anxiety regulation in the brain and discovered yoga and meditation and Reiki all like the very beginning of my PhD. And it changed all of my research interests to something deeper and being able to study spiritual practices. So I was interested in yoga, meditation, and Reiki primarily. And those are still my three, favorite practices. There's, of course, a lot of different types of meditation.
Yeah.
But Reiki is definitely, it's just like taken over my research. Um, Willingly. I mean, I'm very happy with the way that it's progressed to the point where when I first did a study, that was I think 2013 is when I first started a Reiki study, to
Mhm.
now 2026, the difference in acceptance and the amount of research happening is huge. So to just see the opportunities and the amount of research projects that I'm involved in grow within that period of time, and also the way people respond to Reiki or the research is much more open and accepting. So I'm very happy to be part of this big paradigm shift in medicine. So um, I spend half my time doing and teaching Reiki and the other half of my time researching Reiki. So that's mostly right now in the hospital setting, but also with general population and private practice as well. So anything and everything to do with Reiki, I'm interested
Me
in. I think it's
too.
such a fantastic transformative practice. So I'm really happy to chat with you about anything related to that. So
Thank you. Yeah, I'm just gonna start ask some things about like your research first, and after we can talk more like about our own experience. I think it's just
great.
amazing. Okay, so how did you find Reiki? Like it was just something for your own?
Yes, no, that's a really good question. And it's not, I guess I kind of stumbled into it. So I mentioned that I discovered meditation yoga. So it happened through yoga, indirectly, just kind of my co-student, another student in the neuroscience program at my school asked me to join yoga with her, and it was just for students, this like year-long yoga. I was like, sure, fine. So I went to yoga, and it was just the very first class, just so incredible. Like it touched something really deep, and I was just so aware of all my projections and the mental chatter, and it was just very clear that this was so valuable. And it was like a hot power class, and I was like, what, what is happening? And anyway, it was very powerful mentally for me, and then I started doing more meditation, and I just got into the community in that town, and I went to a psychic fair it was, and there was a Reiki person, and I just talked with him, and he'd really tapped in to my energy and what I had been doing in my practices and with the yoga and the meditation, and I felt like, wow, he's really reading me well. So okay, I'll learn Reiki. I don't know what this is, and I didn't know if I believed in it. I was like, I'm just gonna take this. I was. It's kind of like my information gathering phase. I was just doing a lot of workshops and taking everything I could and just soaking up all of this stuff. And took Reiki training and still didn't, I was like, I don't know if I believe this. And it wasn't until I started practicing it that I was like, wow, this is really something. And this is really natural too. It felt very much like, oh, I know how to do this and I'm supposed to be doing this. And there's nothing better than this. It was just, and then to see in my friends and family as I practiced and gained experience to see their response, whether it was the emotional aspect or, feeling things or, pain relief, all of this stuff. It was amazing. And then to also see the increase in my intuition and to, know things and be able to read the energy like that, my teacher was just so amazing. I was spiritually inclined, and I really liked that this was like a really good way of gathering evidence too, as like a scientist. I was like, oh wow, like every session there's like validations, and this is really powerful, and it's powerful for individuals that, have never meditated or don't even dream, and then they're having these deep experiences. And so I feel like it's an incredible tool. Well, it is an incredible tool,
It is
and just stuck with it.
just amazing. And it's so amazing because like you are in an environment like in the science environment, like all the people just get so, I don't know, so weird about like when you start say about energy, these sort of things, intuition. I remember in 2015, I was finishing my graduation in Brazil,
Mm.
and actually I was very keen to do like a Reiki research at that time, but
Nice.
no one, no one
Oh,
accepted because no one understood.
oh, yeah.
And I was in the beginning because I started in 2013. Oh, yeah. And I wasn't like that, like that knowledge. And I feel like I didn't believe actually that time. And I say like, okay, I'm gonna leave this. But it was like my dream to research and
Mm.
yeah, it's just insane. Like, and today I'm here like talk with you.
Well, it's growing. I mean, there's definitely opportunities still get involved in research. There's just so much to do, whether that's as a practitioner or as a researcher or both. There's a lot of opportunity there.
And I feel like you can see in our daily life, like I use pretty much for everything in my life. If I need to choose something for kids and my food, anything.
Everything, yes, yes.
Yes, and it's so practical, like it's easy. It's easy. I think like sometimes people don't believe it because it's too easy. It's,
Right. But
it's
the truth is simple. I believe that as well. That it's our mind that makes things complicated. I mean, there's complexity,
Mhm.
of course, in the environment and nature and all of that. But um, the truth, I believe, is simple. And I think energy is simple. And
Yeah,
um, our connection is simple because it's fundamental. It's,
it's,
what everything comes from.
it
So
is.
the complexity of nature, the root of that is simplicity. It's simple.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that could be part of it too. It's like, well, okay, it's like you're just putting your hands down. Like, what is that? Okay, so you just think you're feeling, so you're just being cared for. Okay, so then people, chalk it off to placebo or whatever. It's definitely something you have to experience.
It
You
is.
have to experience it.
Definitely, definitely. So, what made you want to study Reiki?
It's my research, like I think most scientists' research should be, and I think initially it is driven by, wonder and love of life, if you're
Mhm.
in the biology kind of field and psychology, um, curiosity, and just motivated by your own powerful personal experiences. So, I've done some research and other stuff as well, like psychedelics, because I've had, powerful plant medicine experiences. That's not really my area. I love Reiki so much more.
Mhm.
Um, but anytime I have something that's like, wow, this is really paradigm shaking, and I just want to study it. So it was the Center for Reiki Research. They formed a couple years before I ended up joining them, and they sent out an email looking for a researcher to help them with this large scale study.
Mhm.
And I was at Harvard at the time, and I was like, yeah, I'll definitely I want to help with this. And it was just like a volunteer, like side project. But it definitely helped us because it was the Harvard IRB. It was a Harvard study, and Harvard's ranked very well and respected. So that's how I started my first study, and then it just went from there. And now just kind of designing what I'm interested in studying. And there's so many people that want to help out, and no shortage of research assistants, and which is
No.
lovely.
That's great. That's great. And what was the main goal of the study? The
Oh,
last
the
one.
one that
Yeah,
the latest one.
yeah.
So I can explain all of that because there's two previous publications and then so this was the Harvard study that I just mentioned. So we had Reiki masters throughout the United States um, invite their clients to take pre and post measures. They come in for a session and then they give them a survey on their computer before and after. And we looked at common symptoms that we look at. So things like anxiety, fatigue, nausea, pain, overall well-being, dizziness, all these common symptoms. And then we also asked them, so we took those symptoms before and after getting Reiki, about an hour session of Reiki on average. And then we also had them tell us their experience that they had during the Reiki. So the first publication is reporting on those symptom changes. So improvements in all symptoms, high effect sizes, highly statistically significant. It was the largest Reiki study to date at that time. There's currently been one that's like 200 more people than ours. It's 1,500 or 1,400 sessions.
Wow.
And then, yeah, and then the second study, we we analyzed the qualitative reports, what they said they experienced, their subjective experience,
Mhm.
and through that we revealed or 8 themes emerged. So the classic relaxation, which we talk about a lot, right? Relaxation and calm, but also body sensations, energetic sensations, that tingly, waves of energy, this kind of thing we're all familiar with. Emotions, whether that's joy and unconditional love or feeling crying because you're releasing something that needs to go, and a few others like just feeling kind of sleepy, like sometimes you're in that between wake and sleep state, or breathing changes is another one. Having some kind of journey or visual like spiritual journey, these are some of those themes, so we mapped all of that out. So that was the largest qualitative study. And then I thought, well, why aren't we, let's look at how that experience changes their symptoms. Like we have this huge data set. And so I wanted to do that for a while. And I finally had a lovely researcher assist me with the analysis for that, who's the first author. She came on board, Ellie, and just, I was like, can you analyze the study? Because I analyzed it and presented it at a conference, but I wanted to make sure I was doing it right. And so I brought her on and she made sure that it was done right, which was wonderful. But it did confirm what I saw in the initial analysis. And then she was able to dig a little deeper, which was really wonderful. Um, and what we saw was really interesting. So, and surprising because we talk so much about Reiki being a relaxation technique or, and that it increases the parasympathetic, reduces our stress response, all this kind of stuff, and then reduces inflammation, which I believe it does. I think it does all of that. But what we found is that relaxation, the subjective experience, at least, of that relaxation was not related to any symptom changes. And I was so surprised by that because I thought surely anxiety, like more relaxed, so anxiety reduces, but there was no relationship there, which was really, really surprising. Um, the relationships we did find was between body sensations, so feeling like tingles and energetic sensations. The people that experienced that were more likely to have improvements in pain,
Mhm.
whereas people, yeah, that have emotional aspects, so like crying during the session, were more likely to show improvements in anxiety and well-being. So which makes sense. I mean, it's kind of interesting because it's a physical feeling and then a physical improvement, although
Yeah.
pain has psychological aspects, and then it's like an emotional experience and then there's an emotional improvement. But I think that's quite fascinating, and I've done some studies more recently with some qualitative reports too, and I've seen a pattern with this tingling and the pain where there's a couple quotes saying, I felt the tingling again and then my pain was gone, or I felt tingles so now I know my pain's going to go. And there seems to be, and these are people that have had a few sessions and they're understanding this connection now, like they're going in with arthritic pain and they're feeling the tingles and then the pain's gone. So very interesting what's maybe happening there. And there's more to dig through. There's also the spiritual experience component, and that is also related to relieving anxiety as well. So there's some additional relationships, but these were the most strongest ones. And yeah, I think it's one of the, well, it's the only study that's asked like, well, how or what, like, rather than
Yeah.
just, we know it improves anxiety. We're kind of getting bored of that now.
Yes.
Like, okay, yes, it helps. Another study that shows it reduces stress and improves pain and anxiety, and like, okay, but what else is going on? And so now we're also moving toward, let's look at some, EEG studies and see what's going on with the brain and what's going on with the heart and all of this as, and we're starting a study too that for those who speak English, essentially, read English, it's a study on the healing presence. So we're looking at the qualities that make a good healer, and looking first at Reiki practitioners and looking at levels of compassion and universal love and even intuition and all of these qualities, and then just getting a snapshot of that, and then looking at how does that relate to the effect, in the change of symptoms. Do Reiki practitioners that score higher on compassion show greater improvements, in symptoms in clients, for example? So there's just so much work to be done, and it's all really interesting. So this is going to lead to a lot more investigations, and I hope that other researchers start to do studies like this too, because we know that it improves pain and anxiety, and it's time to look a little deeper.
It does. And it's so special because when I was looking for research, and I feel like because you work, I know you know Reiki, do you know? But I felt like some of the articles you see, like people just don't know too much about Reiki actually. You know, like even like the history, you see like, no, that's not not the
Yes.
not the history. And I felt like we need more, like more people who actually use the Reiki to do research. So it's
I think that's important too.
yeah.
Yes. Yes. And doesn't always happen. So yeah, it does help. It does, technically make me more biased, but it doesn't change the way the data is analyzed. Right? I'm not the one collecting the data. Usually those are research assistants. So, yeah, but like I said, scientists, they study what matters to them and what they know often. So, typically I studied, my PhD was in anxiety. I study anxiety a lot. I had anxiety. I still have to like keep my anxiety in check. I don't know any women that don't, to be honest. Um,
Yeah.
so, a researcher that studies depression, even if it's like, pharmacological approach, they probably have some kind of history with depression, maybe their family, or, we're all
That's,
trying to solve problems. So,
that's
to me, a problem is that we don't know who we are, and we're operating in a false materialist model. And I see that as a big problem. And Reiki is one way to shift that paradigm with
mm.
evidence.
That's one thing. I feel like Reiki is just something you can remember actually who we are.
Yes,
Do you feel that?
yes, yes,
I just feel like
yes.
when you actually sit down or just like put your hands or anything or just think about Reiki, you just, like reconnect with your body and yourself, and it's you. It's
Hmm.
wonderful.
Hmm.
It's just insane. Okay. Um, when you do the research, this is more curious question. Do you do only Reiki energy, or do you do like symbols? Has any difference between that? It's just
Nobody has studied that difference,
mm,
and nobody has even reported symbol use either.
oh,
Um, I've asked, I have yet to see anyone report that symbols have been used or not used. So I work with a Reiki master in the hospital, and I asked her this, like, because I wrote, she's the practitioner on a couple studies that I've written up. And I asked her, are you using the symbols? And in the hospital, they have to keep it very secular, and you can't outwardly use the symbols. So you couldn't be in the hospital and start, doing the symbols. Um, but she said she does them, and I'd never heard this before, but she does do them, but she does them with her tongue in
Uh,
her mouth.
yeah.
But we didn't report that because it sounds really, and it would maybe jeopardize their program as well, right? To be like, she's doing this like symbols in her tongue. Like it just sounds weird from people that are
Yeah.
not Reiki people. But that question comes up a lot at like research conferences or webinars. Have anyone looked at the symbols versus not the symbols, or and we haven't reported that, so we don't even know really. And that's an issue in general, is that the reporting of the Reiki protocol is not very good.
Yeah. And I don't know how you understand the symbols, but for me, symbols is just like a frequency you can direct for, like mental, emotion, spiritual, like the energy is the same. It's not gonna
Yes.
change. I just feel like it's addressed, like I want to go to mental now, I want to go into, I don't know, how do you see it?
Yes, so obviously the symbols are not necessary because, at least in my lineage, we don't learn them in level one. You can just hit the ground running without without any symbols. I see them as like tools to strengthen intention. So for me, if I'm doing a distance, I still use the symbols. And I know many people don't. They stop, or they learn the master symbol and that's all they use. But I keep using like the distance symbol of that. And I'll do a distance session. And there's been many times where I'm not perfect. I forget to do the symbol, and maybe it doesn't matter, and I'm still connecting. But there's something really about like, okay, I'm doing this symbol now. Now I'm connected. Even though we are anyway. I feel like it just like amplifies or strengthens our intention. And maybe there's a point where it doesn't anymore and you don't need it anymore. And maybe I don't need to use them anymore. But personally, I still do. I like using them. And I'll use them beginning of a session and then during a session as well for different things. And yeah, it is, when it comes to, yeah, like the emotion mental symbol versus, power and all that, it is like directing that intention in a certain way. So yeah, exactly. I've seen people talk about this where people think about them differently, but I think the overall consensus from what I've seen is that it's a tool and we don't absolutely need them, but they're helpful. um, so yeah, they're not mentioned in any study that I've seen, at least in the English literature.
Yeah, I remember because one of my students, she was doing a master in Brazil, and she did actually Reiki research, and she did all the sections and everything. And I said to her, "Don't put any music because like sounds, no? And
Yeah.
also don't use any symbols. Just put up the energy. Just use the
Yes.
energy."
Right.
Yeah, and yeah, she did. It was a long job for her as well because she did by herself. And,
Oh yeah.
but she just found a lot of improvements about
Uh,
mental health. Yeah, mental health.
mhm.
So good.
Nice.
Good. Yeah.
That's good. That's great. Yeah, music's important too in the hospital because we're not doing a very well controlled, it's a program. They're giving Reiki to patients, so they're putting like some meditation music on an iPad. But we're designing a more randomized control trial right now for surgery. And I'm like, no music because, and there's the EEG study, and I'm like, no music because the EEG
Yeah.
is just, you just, that's the end of your data.
Yeah.
And the practitioners will be like, I always have music. I don't know if I'm like, trust me, you can do it without music. You don't need it. So yeah, there's some pushback with that sometimes because I get it. They want the person to really relax and have but it's not necessary.
No, it's not. That's one thing people love to say about Reiki. People say like, "Oh, Reiki is love."
Mm,
How that sound for you?
hmm well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot to say about that. I feel like love is the bridge, love is the connector between us. So love allows, well, me, so I can speak as a practitioner because we haven't studied this, but we want to study this. I want to study love. I have a universal love scale I created. And so this unconditional detached love, right? We're not talking like an attached, imbalanced human love, right? We're talking this universal love. So just to divine that love, I believe that's how we connect, that entanglement, that it's activated through love, or, attention, but loving attention, right? There has to be that. Um, and so I find like that's how I can connect with people for Reiki. Um, and I think of Reiki as love in action because it's like universal love in action. You're doing something with it, you're using it, rather than just maybe, loving someone and loving, maybe in a meditation, loving the earth and all of that. You're really like actively allowing, well, it's, actively allowing, um, passively allowing the energy to flow as a part of that love. There's a giving, right? Even though it's not our energy, it's a giving. So I think of it as like love in action. I think of love as absolutely essential to being able to do good energy healing work. And maybe other traditions and other people would argue or they would call love something else, right? So when we define universal love in the literature, um, it's this transcendent state, this transpersonal state, where we're whole. Exactly like you described, of when you do Reiki or when you think of Reiki, you're yourself. You are that universal loving soul, the true aligned self. So I think that all connects. That, it is like a state for me of doing Reiki of divine bliss. And there's love in there, and there's like, it's just perfection of being, the perfection of being, and feeling that connection and feeling, like everything's perfect and everything, and that safety of the web of, you're contained within the one. No harm can come of you. The truth of who we are is indestructible, this the witness, the loving witness. So I think love is a huge part of Reiki.
Yes.
um, and like I said, maybe people would think otherwise. There might be practitioners that are very mental about it. Um, they don't feel anything like that would be resembling love. But, compassion, very close to love as well. Universal love and compassion, another key ingredient. And when you talk to healers very frequently, because I talk to a lot of them, I haven't had anyone disagree with that. We all talk about what is it? What is it? It's love, and it's attention and intention, intention, and love all, together, that makes a good healer. So, and authenticity, right? Like when I'm, as part of Reiki, sometimes, things come up in messages, and you're just kind of giving them a little bit like, oh, your body wants to spend more time in nature. I'm like, me too, I don't say like, I'm perfect Reiki master. I have everything together. I'm fully enlightened. And da, da, da. I think that would weaken it because you're coming from ego. It's not, for me, that's not authentic. So I think being authentic with your client is important too, not being like some
Definitely.
spiritual ego or something, right? Because we do talk, a lot of Reiki practitioners talk about it's like an egoless, or you're dissolving your ego, you're stepping out of the way, right?
Mm.
So trying to be some perfect healer definitely doesn't
Be
make
a
it work too
human being.
well.
I know.
Exactly. So yes, because that's the connection. You can't connect with someone if they're not being authentic.
Yeah.
So I think all of those things really matter.
Is that something you can feel? Like you can feel the person field and you
I
that
can,
like
pardon me, I can feel the person. What did
like
you ask?
the field, like the energy of the person, like
In different ways. Yeah, sometimes, and sometimes more than others. So um, it's different for me if I'm in person or distance. I don't know about for you, but in person, I find it's much more like I feel the heat. Um, it's more physical, I guess,
yeah.
in general. Yeah, but I will feel the emotions and I'll get some messages. But because it's more physical, it's less of like a download, let's say, as if I'm doing a distance session. With a distance session, I don't feel the heat in my hands as much. I will, like it's flowing. I know it's flowing. But this is like, oh, information. And there's a lot of writing going on. And it's very different.
Very powerful way. I love work distance Reiki.
Me too. I like it
I
more.
just I just feel like I like more than the person actually.
Yes, I am exactly the same.
Yeah,
I love distance. Yeah.
it's just so good. How can you explain like the Reiki energy? It's kind of energy or it's part of us?
Hmm. Yeah, see, it's a confusing part, and there's definitely an energetic component going on. Um, but I feel like the connection is like it's consciousness before energy. So the way I see reality is not that, energy is making matter in our brain and then it's producing consciousness and we're feeling like, yeah, it's the other way around. So we're primarily consciousness. Consciousness creates energy, and then energy is like matter when it's like dense, right? Um, so what was the question?
How could you describe like a Reiki energy?
Oh
It's,
yeah.
it's fun.
So I feel like it's consciousness is a big part of it, and but the energy, I feel like there's it's information that's being exchanged, obviously, because we're picking up information,
Mhm.
and that information is translating into the energy that needs to be done for something to happen. We have not measured ki or chi or life force energy at all. And I have a colleague that says you'll never be able to because it's in a different dimension. It's not even in this dimension, which is a funny, yeah, I was like, ooh, okay.
Why
So
not?
this is this is where materialists or skeptics or cynics get tripped up. Like there is no chi, there's no life force energy, therefore Reiki is nonsense. Well, that doesn't mean that's the case at all. So it's kind of tricky because we haven't measured that energy. Um,
But do you think it's like a source of energy who that's create us and everything? Or it's kind of one type of energy, because we know have like vital energy, chi, prana, all that stuff. Do you think
yes, and I
it's
don't know the details of what those differences are. I know the traditional Chinese medicine system has all these different kinds of chi. So I don't know. I assume just through my experience and the practice that this is just the source spirit energy. I feel like it's very simple and not
yeah.
like some people will say this Reiki energy is from like sixth dimension
Mm.
ray something. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
That sounds
So
good too. I feel like it's the same energy. We talk about the
exactly.
same thing.
Yes. So that's what I think.
Yeah.
Well, we could be disproven, but yeah.
Yeah, oh, it's just
Oh yeah, it can get all complicated and I'm like, this is just not, it's simple. That's why I say this is simple.
it's
Take a
very
step back.
okay. So what you say like someone who curious about Reiki but not sure about, like people get quite confused or sometimes I think it's about like their belief actually. Do you think how can you explain easily for this type of people?
The people that are skeptics or
Yes,
what
yeah.
type of people? Yeah. Well, then I don't use any consciousness. I don't even bother with the non-materialist model.
Mhm.
Um, I will definitely call it a biofield therapy in those cases, which is the
Wow.
term that the National Institutes of Health um, generated in like the 90s, even though I don't like that term personally, because it's easy to explain. We have fields of energy that are emanating off of us.
And people
We can
like,
measure,
where?
we me and we measure them already for diagnostic purposes. So things like thermal imaging, to detect cancer. You can even know somebody's emotional state with thermal cameras. So there's a lot that we can tell just off the body, just measuring heat signatures. Obviously, like the brain activity, heart activity, all of this is feeding information, and it does give us indication of health. We're using it all the time in medicine, and it's a part of biophysics. And there's deeper things going on. There's deeper aspects of, the body tissues forming around energy first. Like you can find these fields in the body, and then tissue forms around the field, so that the field is like the primary um, life, right? Not the form or the matter or the tissues. And people with, phantom limb, people that lose limbs and they can still feel that limb very well, and including pain, and Reiki will relieve that. It's really amazing. So yeah, for a materialist, I would approach it as a biofield therapy that works on, the principle that our fields are interacting. We can measure this. The different characteristics of the field relate to our health and our emotions, and we can alter that. And I can also even like I said dumb it down. I can even like that's not what I meant. I can even tone it down to just that relaxation response from touch or meditation. It gets tricky to explain it like that when you're talking about distance Reiki. So it's like, oh, it's relaxing to be cared for and touched. But now we know that the relaxing is not the most important
Yeah,
part. And I would say, yeah, activates the vagus nerve and decreases our stress response, increases our parasympathetic tone, and reduces inflammation. And so you can explain it on all these different levels.
it is. The other day I went to my little one's preschool and then talk about Reiki, and I said like it's energy care.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, energy
Nice.
care, like because it was like teachers, like people didn't have idea about like what is Reiki, and I said like, oh, we can use as like energy care. Like if you don't feel well, you can just put it on your hands, like just get more
Mm-hmm.
comfortable and feel okay and imagine, because it can be quite stressful with kids. So you can use for relax,
Mm-hmm.
set up and being you.
Be you,
That's
yeah.
how I try to explain, like nothing too
That's
much.
a good explanation too. Like it makes you feel more like yourself,
Yeah.
at least as an effect. But yeah, you can match it to the audience so well.
Yeah.
Like yeah, self-regulation tool if you're doing self-Reiki, um, bringing you into balance, just quiet time, like with kids, right? Um, and for some people, it's like giving a meditation too. It's almost like you're getting a meditation when you're getting a Reiki session. I've had a lot of clients that can't meditate, meaning they're not trying and they're not practicing it, but I can't meditate at all, but I felt like I was meditating. That was amazing. So, or putting people into the hypnagogic state. I think when I think about explaining it, yeah, it's often to like the scientists I work with that are like, what is that? But when people certainly come into my office and I try to get a sense of, well, have you had acupuncture? Like what do you meditate or yoga? Is there any practice that they've done that works on similar principles, and try to meet them there too. So it's fun. It's all fun to me.
Um, amazing. So I just want to ask something like more about your own life. Do you have kids? And
Yes, one.
do you use Reiki with her or
Yes,
you do?
yes, yes, yes. I just did today.
How is the experience?
It's mostly for falling asleep.
Yeah, me
It's
too.
yeah, and it's amazing.
Okay.
And I first started doing it just distance when she was really little, and just like fussing and not quite settling.
Mhm.
But I realized I had to get, it's just, I had to get into a state of calm for her to fall asleep too. So when I first started doing it, I'm like, am I just relaxing and then she's drifting? Like,
That's I
or is
feel
she getting the, yeah.
that.
I'm like, she just, vibing off of me, chilling out finally, and not. And very frequently I'll put myself to sleep like at the same time or before her. But today she didn't sleep. She slept like 9 hours, and she needs 10 to feel like at least 10 to be. So she was tired earlier this morning than usual. And I noticed when she gets tired, her head gets really hot. And so she was kind of like fighting it and getting grouchy. And I just put my hand like just on the top of her head, and she was like, she's like,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
just goes. And then just goes. down. She was like still fighting it, but like, I like this. And she's asked for it before, and she's given me Reiki before. Like she goes like to the sides of my head, and yeah, and she's only 3, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And then I went into town to my Reiki room the other day, and she was like, she's just so smart. I don't know. She's like trying to get me to do a session. She's like, so what do you do? And then she's like, can I lay here? I'm like, yeah, sure. And then so she was like pretending to get Reiki, and it's so cute. Yeah, so there is a natural understanding, I think, and she feels the energy and she's able to say, oh, I like that. That's nice, you know? So I think it's a great use. And I know some parents, children don't want them to. So every kid's different, but um, my daughter definitely loving it, and she'll probably be doing it herself someday.
Oh, he's the same. Like both, they love. They
Yeah.
start to say the gokai in Japanese. They like
Oh.
sometimes they like, oh, kyoda, kyowa. What are you doing?
That's so
And
cute.
so cute. And also they use like a very hurting or like my oldest one, he's like, oh mom, I'm not feeling well. I'm just gonna do some Reiki. And he's just really
Oh.
just like he he doesn't want to take any medication or anything. He's like, I have Reiki, mommy. And I have
Mm,
a nice experience with him because he just started school last year. And
mm.
it was the kind of thing, like you go, we need to make friends, and it's it's normal life. And I say to him, like, you is special because you have Reiki. So you can do is just put some break in your heart. You're gonna to be like with very good energy, and you're gonna try
Nice.
like good
Oh,
friends, good things, like, and he does. And he came to home like, Mommy, I did, and it worked.
oh,
It's
that's
just
so good.
yeah, so I
I
try to
love that.
explain to them, and I mean, like, we don't need because sometimes people think like you need to put some, like toys or no. I talk with them like I talk with you, like I talk with
Right.
energy, biofeed, like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, good energy, bad energy.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want? And he's like, good, okay, just put on good.
Yeah, it's simple, right? They understand it.
They do,
Yes.
they're very intelligent.
Yes.
I think they just come to actually teach us.
Yes. I think so.
Yeah. Okay. What gives you hope for the future of Reiki research?
Well, I mean, we often say we need funding, right? And we have a large group of funders now. And they didn't fund this study that we talked about, but they are funding other studies and studies that I've published and a lot of different research at a lot of different labs. And they're actually getting people to study Reiki that aren't studying Reiki, that are studying like mindfulness or because they're good researchers at good institutions. So they're strategically trying to get high quality research conducted and also promote it. So if you've seen the Phenomenon movie previews or a docu-series, they've created a docu-series, some podcasts, and research as well. So that has been incredible because I feel like without the funding, I mean, we depend on, we've been doing lots of little Reiki studies because it's small money. We don't have a lot of money for research. And to get big money, you need the government grants, and the government, at least in the US right now, I'm in Canada, but all of my research is conducted in the US. I work remotely for US hospitals and universities, and the National Institutes of Health have like shut down so much funding. So we're actually would be at a loss, and a lot of Reiki programs have shut down, and that's all would be the trajectory. But then there's this group of these philanthropists that have come in, and their mission, their collective soul mission, is to make this mainstream. So,
Nice.
and we gather every so often. They have conferences, and they're building community, big community around this. And I'm like, oh, it's done. Like we've done it. It's happening. Like it's already happened. This is just now we're on the ride because um, and I know I'm in a little bubble where I see a lot of this stuff and maybe the general public doesn't, but just the conversation around Reiki has changed just in the general public, where when I started practicing it, no one knew. They
Oh,
might have heard of it, but no one knew what the heck it was. And now it's like, oh, my sister does Reiki, or oh, my cousin, or oh, my friend does that. And everyone knows somebody who practices Reiki. And so many people have experienced it or know someone close to them that has had a great experience. So there's like that cultural shift as well. So it's in medicine and it's in the general culture. So I'm very, very hopeful and confident. It's a snowball effect. As soon as you experience it,
it's
it shifts you.
no back, no way back. You know.
Exactly.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, it's so good. Wow. And do you think Reiki can be a tool for actually change the way we are living?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, like we keep saying, it connects you with
Yeah.
your true self,
Yeah.
centering you, living a more mindful life, essentially. Living a mindful life, increasing compassion, empathy from a stable place, Um, we can be empathic and go on roller coasters of emotions all day, but if we're not in a centered space, shifting from empathy to compassion, using it to fix things as like an empowering tool. So it's also empowering for our own health and well-being as well. I mean, I don't know how much because, I do the yoga and the meditation. I don't know what has done the most shift in my life, but my goodness, like it's
Yeah,
changed everything.
yeah,
Yeah, it's changed everything. And I think, there's a lot of people that take a Reiki course. I meet them all the time and they never practice it, right? And of course, then it's not going to do much for you.
yeah,
You have to use it. You have to use it. So that's critical. You can take a weekend workshop and learn Reiki 1 or whatever, and then never do it again. And that's a huge missed opportunity. But as a practice, it's deeply transformative. Just like meditation and yoga, with that added component, like I said, of the compassion and the universal love, where you're giving someone. I've had clients that, they've had terrible parents. And they're like, wow, I felt loved for the first time ever.
yeah,
So, and I don't even know you, like,
yeah.
what was that?
That's why
Yeah.
sometimes I don't like to say Reiki is love because this, like you can have one client and never actually know what is love.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And
But yeah, Reiki connects you with your soul, your spirit, the
yeah,
true self,
yeah,
which feels like love, self-love.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. And can you tell us like your one of your best experience with Reiki, like your own
Mm.
experience?
Oh my, I should have thought of this ahead of time. My best experience. Oh my. Hmm. I don't know. Like there's just been so many, and it's like, what do I even say?
So just when you can share, like when you see, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening.
I don't like there's so many examples that all feed into each other. You know what I mean? Like all of it is so incredible. It's almost like a critical mass where I can say, validations with clients. They blow me away when, something very specific comes through and it's validated by that. Like those to me is evidence of our interconnection and so that I really, really love that. And then of course like symptom improvement and, people having conditions that just clear right away, like rashes, or I've had some with cystic acne, or headaches for years that
Mhm.
go away after one session. Um,
I do.
Example,
I
yeah.
do. I had migraine and
Oh yeah, it's very good for migraines. Putting my daughter to sleep, I mean, it's just an amazing tool for that. Since we've already talked about it, it's fresh in my mind. But
every
um,
every parent needs to know that.
yeah. Connecting with cats through Reiki that are lost You know, that I've done that a few times. That's been amazing to bring cats home through Reiki. Like there's just, like you said, so many different applications. It can be used for everything.
Everything.
Um, yeah, just starting a motor on a boat that wouldn't start. And all these people on the boat's broken, and I'm like, hold on, guys. And
Just
then it starts, you know?
wow, really? Oh,
And then being like, is that okay? Like,
that's
was I supposed to do that? I'm just Reikiing the motor, you know, nothing wrong with that. Because everything is alive. Like, everything has consciousness. Everything has that. And you can connect with, so it's like, oh, I can connect with the motor of the boat. Not, you know, I can
insane.
connect with people, but I can also really connect with this motor of the boat, you know? And just feeling the consciousness of everything and the messages that come through. There's not one, I can't think of one.
One
Maybe
thing.
I will later.
That's
One
fine.
big wow. There's just so many wows that just, yeah. And
And
I'm always blown away still to this day.
it does, it does. If you like when the little ones have like teething, like and fever, I never
Oh,
use
yeah.
like medication, only Reiki.
Yeah.
Only Reiki.
Yeah.
And
That's the
sometimes,
best that you could have.
yeah, and sometimes I saw like parents, they like, oh my gosh, I need to go to hospital. It's for, so I never had this problem.
Oh my
I was
goodness.
just like,
Yeah. And then it'll calm you, right? And you're
yeah,
more likely to get better too if you're all freaking out about it. Yeah.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
definitely. Oh, perfect. Thanks so much, Natalie.
Thank
Can
you,
you
Fernanda.
share with us like how can you find you or
Mhm.
like your Instagram or email or anything because people just from around the world is gonna watch you here and definitely they want to get in touch with you.
Lovely, yes. The easiest way, well, is my website's drnataliedyer.com. And also my Instagram is at Dr. Natalie Dyer. It's like Dr.Natalie.Dyer, but I'm sure it'll come up. I'm also on Facebook, but I don't find I can reach very many people on Facebook. It's like more for friends, and but I'm on there too. LinkedIn, but mostly, yeah, mostly I interact mostly on Instagram and through email. And my email you can get on my website. So it's natalieleedyer@gmail.com.
And also do you teach Reiki as well? Do you
I
do?
do, yes. I teach online and in-person Reiki. Yeah.
Nice.
So you can see the my courses on my website as well.
Perfect. Just want to say thank you so much. It was a pleasure
Oh, thank you.
to be
It
here.
was so nice to, I know, you know, we've seen each other for a while, and to finally connect and have a chat is lovely.
That's so amazing. And I feel like the internet now is just makes so easy for us.
Yeah, it's lovely. Yeah, and thank you so much for sharing the research. I got a lot of Portuguese, Brazilian followers, and I was like, what's happening? This is nice. I like these people.
Oh, the people in Brazil
It's,
get
yeah.
so excited. We have a huge community, like a Reiki community in Brazil. They're doing actually a lot of research and put it like Reiki in hospitals, and it's very cool. It's a big movement.
Yes, I would love to learn more about that. There's the language barrier, but there's World Reiki Research, and I think they're translating and they're, yeah,
Oh,
making a
they
lot of
do.
this available.
Yeah.
So very awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. It
Oh,
is a global effort.
it is. It is.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's amazing. Okay. Thank you so
All right.
much. Thank
Thank
you,
you. Take care.
and see you.